Hello, everyone. Welcome to our risk management school. My name is Nicola Kosen, and I'm a member of the Pirani team. I'm excited to be here with you today to explore the theoretical and practical aspect of the different topics that we will see. To help us delve into this session, we're happy to have with us Stephanie Arango, account manager at Pirani. How are you, Steph?
Good. How are you? Good morning.
All right. We are so good and excited to hear about what is the risk management. Before we begin, I would love to invite everyone to continue learning about the role of risk management by visiting the Pirani Academy, where you will find valuable material lessons. I will leave the link in the chat now so you can see the website. So let me just a moment. There you go. So we can begin now. Finally, if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to make them through the question and answer section, and we will be happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. Now, let's begin with this exciting topic. Over to you, Steph.
Thank you. Just want to make sure, do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear me? Okay, great. Cool. So let's start here. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Stephanie. So welcome to the Risk Management by Pirani. In today's webinar, we will discuss what is risk management, what is GRC, what is ISO 31000, and what is operational risk management. And lastly, I will go into Pirani's operational risk management solution. So today we'll talk about a little bit what is risk management. So risk management is a systematic process that involves identifying, assessing, prioritizing, and mitigating risk to an organization or project in order to minimize potential negative impacts and maximize opportunities for success. Some examples, as you can see here, we have a couple of key components of risk management. So an example of risk management would be risk mitigation, where we develop strategies to reduce or eliminate the impact of high priority risk. Another example would be risk communications. So here we're sharing information about risk and mitigation efforts to our stakeholders. And lastly, another example of risk tolerance and appetite, where we define the organization's willingness to accept and manage risk. In conclusion, effective risk management is essential for achieving project and organization goals while minimizing potential setbacks. It's a dynamic process that requires ongoing and adaptability. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what GRC is. So today I have the privilege of addressing you on the critical topic of governance, risk management, and compliance, or GRC for short. In the ever-evolving landscape of business and regulations, effective GRC is not just a choice, but it's a necessity. It's about aligning your organization's goals with ethical practices, managing risk, and complying with laws and standards. So why is GRC important? GRC is important because, well, one, you're going to have benefits of the framework, which are numerous enhanced reputations, reduce risk, and it's going to improve your decision-making and sustain growth. So now we're going to have, what is ISO 31000? So ISO 31000 is an international standard that's revolutionized risk management. ISO 31000 isn't just a guidelines, it's a global game changer. It equips organizations with a framework, principles, and processes for effective risk management. ISO 31000 empowers organizations to, one, identify risk by systematically potentially recognizing threats. Then we have another, which is assessing risk, which is going to be evaluating the impact and likelihood of these threats. Lastly, we have manage risk by implementing strategies to mitigate and control risk. And then our last one would be monitor risk. So we are continuously and adapting to changing risk. So here, ISO 31000 ensures that risk doesn't hinder our objectives. It safeguards our path to success by making risk management a structured and more proactive endeavor. So in a world of uncertainties, ISO 31000 is our compass to navigate in a sea of risk. And also, Pirani, we follow the standards of 31000. So our frameworks are all 31000. What is operational risk management? So operational risk management is a specialization domain within risk management that is vital for the success and resilience of organizations. Operational risk management is all about addressing the everyday challenges that organizations face. It focuses on identifying, assessing, and mitigating risk inherent in our daily operations. These risks are primarily tied to internal processes, systems, people, and external events. They have the potential to disrupt or negatively impact our negative or ability to achieve our objectives. Operational risk management isn't just about identifying problems, it's about finding solutions. By practically managing these risks, we enhance our organization's resilience and ensure that we can continue to thrive in a dynamic world. So why is operational risk management important? Today, we emphasize the critical role of operational risk management, which is a cornerstone a cornerstone for organization stability and resilience. Operational risk management is the guardian of our day-to-day operations. Here, we're trying to figure out how our business is conducting business day to day. So we want to have a close eye on how our operational system works. And with an operational risk management solution in place, here we'll be able to identify risk as they happen. So it involves identifying and assessing and mitigating operational risk, which are the lurking threats to our stability. Through this process, we reduce the likelihood of disruptions, financial losses, and reputational damage. So we are basically building a shield for the unexpected. So effective operational risk management isn't just a safeguard, it's a lifeline for business continuity. It secures our strategic objectives and ensures we stay on course no matter the challenge. And I am thrilled to share some exciting news. Our organization has received top ratings from 2 industry-leading platforms, which is G2 and Capterra. And it's not just any rating, it's recognition for our excellence in usability and more. As you can see, we have quite some awards. So thank you so much for being part of this incredible journey. And then now, we will dive into Pirani's operational risk management system. So give me 1 second. All right. So here, now we are seeing the dashboard here. So this is what the operational risk management system would look like. So you kind of go in here, you have a couple of options here. You can figure this out here. And then we're going to go into a process. So typically, all right, let me just move this here. Okay, so typically here we would decide what would be a process for our operational risk management system. So if anybody has something, some ideas in our chat, I'd be happy to discuss or add on a process that they use in their industry. So let me give you guys a couple of seconds.
Sorry, I have left the link in the chat so you can access to the Pirani tool where you can do the practical exercise that with Steph. With this link, you will be able to access a 15-day free trial where you can test the 5 risk management systems that we have in Pirani. So, and we have, Terma is saying it's a process or a risk. It's a process we are doing now.
Yes, thank you. So does anybody want to talk about perhaps or share some processes in their particular industry? Thurman, a process or a risk? No, a process. No, okay, that's fine. We can create our own. So here, hold on 1 second. So here we would create a process, and typically here you'll have a name, right? So let's decide what would we name our process. So we have examples of what we've done in the past. So for example,
in the chat.
Say it again.
We have an example in the chat.
Oh, you do? Hold on. I don't see the chat. I lost it.
Say training request process.
Training request process. Okay. So training request process. So here you're going to be inputting the name of the process, and then we're going to do a type. So is it a mission, is it supporting, or is it strategic? I guess this would be, let's choose strategic. And then the category, we would do a macro process, a process, or a sub-process. We can do macro.
I don't know, maybe it's a process. It depends on micro
We can
process.
try a sub-process. And then dependence, is it a depending on a software development, or a technology development, document management, or talent acquisition process? So I guess we could do training request process, talent acquisition process. And then here you also have a short box where you'll be able to explain a short description for others to kind of read in here as well. And then you have some evidence in a drop box where you can actually input actual evidence. So let's say we created this process. Okay, now we'll dive deep into what our risks are. So now that you said a process for, let's say, training management processes, right? What would be a risk for this? So let's go ahead and create one. And here's the cool part about this, that let's say, you're not really too sure about what particular risk this entails. So we have here our AI generator, which is suggest risk. So you go ahead and click here. You click on the industry. Does anybody want to give me an example of a particular industry that they want to get an example of? Oh, here's my chat. I found it. It's like I know something, but okay. Finance, telecom. Okay, great. So let's do financial, and then a process. So we can choose marketing, commercial, customer service, or financial, or even human management. So let's try human management. So we click suggest. And then as you can see, it's doing its thing, it's processing. So give it a couple of seconds. Okay, great. So now as you see here, we have a couple of examples of risk suggestions. So let's see. We can do inadequate training competency levels in operating the risk system, leading to errors and data misinterpretation. And then we have also language barriers and communication gaps in using risk management. So let's go ahead and click one. Human errors and negligence in data input and maintenance, compromising the accuracy and reliability. So human errors are a big thing, right? So let's click on that one. So risk impact. So here you'll be able to kind of figure out, what is the impact of this risk? Is it a minor risk? Is it a significant, serious, critical, or catastrophic? So human errors, what would you guys say this risk impact is? The human errors and negligence in data input. Would you say it's a minor or significant or serious or critical catastrophic risk? What do you guys think? Critical, significant. Okay. So let's go ahead with critical. What about the rate risk likelihood? Do you guys think this is unlikely, rather unlikely, likely, or very likely, or almost certain? I think this is likely for sure. Okay. And the cool part is that as you go ahead and see, thank you, Evelyn. As you can see, once we input the risk impact and the rate risk likelihood, you'll be able to see it on the heat map to our right here. So like where it falls in our heat map on the impact, the likelihood. So you see it here, it's inherent residual. So now, does this risk affect the continuity of your business? Depends, right? Like, if some data got exposed, then perhaps this could be a risk to the continuity of the business. Here, you can also add some evidence. So, every industry is different. So we all have different type of evidences. So it could be screenshots or, some policies or anything like that. Then here, category, risk treatment, and country, these are categories that we've actually put in place beforehand. So you have the option of adding categories, risk treatment, or countries, and these are all editable. So category, you can switch it to something else. Like whatever pertains to your particular industry, you have the option of just adjusting these things. For our purposes, I put in category, and then here we have, is it a risk? Is it an opportunity? Is it an issue? So here we would say it's a risk, a risk treatment. So how are we going to, like we're like doctors, right? So are we going to accept this? Are we going to transfer this? Are we mitigating this? So here we want to mitigate, right? To make sure this doesn't, happen. And if it does, what can we do about it? So after that, now that you've created all of, now you've inputted all this information. So now you're going to go ahead and create this risk. So now we have our controls. Cool. So as you can see here, we have previously added some controls, but what would be, and I want to hear this from the audience, what would be a control that your industry works with? I put cybersecurity before. I mean, I know cybersecurity is something very big right now, but what would be a control in your particular industry, if anybody wants to add on? You don't know what a control is. Okay, cool. Well, let's see. Let me give you an example. Training would be a common one. Okay, training employees. Got it. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new one. Okay, so let's go back here. So here, this is your dashboard for creating a control. So we are going to be talking about training. So training employees would be a good control. Training employees. Okay. So really quickly, a control, sorry, Thurman. So really quickly, a control is pretty much what you're going to do to, fix the risk and control the mitigation process. So here we're going to train most economical control training. So here we're going to train employees. That is a control to the risk that we just inputted before and the process. So now a control design, it's pretty much here, what we're going to do here. Okay. So now how do we qualify this control? Here we have, got it. You're welcome. So here we're going to discuss what our control type is. So we have different options. So preventive would be 100%, which is it's going to anticipate the situation and prevent the problem. So in and the detective, they're going to adjust the ongoing process, and this type of control monitors activities in the present to prevent expected results from being breached. And then corrective, it's to mitigate the impact of the event and enable future performances by improvement and learning from past mistakes. So if you're training an employee, you want to make sure that we are preventing this as much as possible. So, we're anticipating solutions and prevents problems. So let's go ahead and click preventive. Type of execution. So now the type of execution, we have a couple. So manual, right? 10%, it is where the process and intervention of a person in the action of controlling. Combined, the control has an automated part, but requires the presence and intervention of a person. And then lastly, automatic, it's when the control action is performed by an application or system. So training, what do you guys think? Would you say training employees and qualified control, would it be a manual or would it be combined or would it be automatic? Judging by what it says here. Okay. So I think here for training employees, we'll go ahead and just say that, we can't really automate and training employees, but we can provide information, right? And exactly, it could be combined. It has to be a little bit of, we show them videos, we train them, we have everything, technology, right? So we will train them like that. But we also have a manual, we'll have a person make sure that they're walking the trainee and giving them information on how to do their job correctly. So it could be a combined, correct. Thank you, Jessica. Is this control executed repeatedly? Let's see. So typically, is this control executed repeatedly? Yes, this control is executed more than once, for sure. We're definitely going to have to execute this way more than one time. Is it documented? So far, before I go on, as you can see the qualification results up here. So as I'm inputting these, informations, sorry, you're going to see how the risk is, is it weak? Right now, it's obviously weak. So we have a lot of work to do. So is it documented? Okay, so is it undocumented? There's no record about the control and its information is in any document. Particularly documented. The control and its information is included in some document, but not made official in the process. You could have automatically assigned training based on. That is true. I agree, Joanne. Documented, then we have the control and its information is documented. So what would you say? Is this documented? Okay. So thank you, Samir. Documented. Is there any evidence? Let's see. Thanks, Jessica. Okay, so is there any evidence? A control execution remains. Sorry about this. This is in Spanish, but it's supposed to be in English. So typically, we would just choose personnel in charge of executing the control. Yeah, that's pretty much what we would have to do. Hold on. Okay, so far as now that we've inputted all this information, oh, I missed this one. So is there any evidence? Control executions support remains. Well, let's just click yes. So far, as you can see, final rating, we're pretty strong here. So we have at 90%. And on the right-hand corner, it's going to show you our control design, which is 90%, and it's 45%. So the control is executed occasionally and has shortcomings. So it kind of gives you some information as well here. And then now our execution. So what would be our execution here? Has events been presented? Let's see. There are events related to control failure. Again, this is in Spanish. Sorry about that, guys. So here we would click that no events have affected the control. So, well, I think that events related to control would probably be best. Is the control design effective? Let's click the qualifications of variables was according to the design. And then is the evidence effective? Evidence complies as an audit support. Okay. So here you'll also have a short description box where you'll be able to kind of input more information to your industry, and the same thing here, some evidence, and you just kind of drop your files here to explore. So far, look, now we have our qualification results. So we're at medium, in the middle, 77%. So now that we created this control, I would just press create. So now one last thing here. We have to go back to our risk. So once we go back to our risk, because now we need to associate these controls to the risk. So we click here. And then now we're going to our processes. Got it. So here, once you click here, your processes, then you're going to associate the risk to this process. So we had discussed that it would be a talent management process. So here, now we are supporting it, link it. So we click link, and now you see a process was associated. So you save changes. And then now here, just to double check, training employees, we click here. And we click here, associations to our risk. We associate our risk. And then same here. So we can choose, obviously we have, previously inputted some risk here, but a specific risk would be human errors and negligence in data and input. So that's, remember, if you guys remember, that was the first risk that our ChatGPT had generated. So we'll go ahead and associate that risk. So we save changes. Cool. So now let me put this chat here. So now that you've done your processes, you've done your risk, and you've done your controls, and you associated the risk to the controls. So typically you would go back to your dashboard and see here, you're going to see your total inputs of processes, how many risks you added, how many controls you have, and then the events, and of course, some action plans. So we're going to expand. Okay, cool. So here, you're always going to have like little screens that kind of help you navigate through the system. So we're just going to close this out here. And then up in the top, you have a choice to read your risk heat map. So it's going to be from today, a month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Then we always want to click on the residual just so we can see everything all together. And the cool part is that let's say you had all these other systems or you just had one of these. Let's say you have all of them. This would be an example of what everything would look like. But for our purposes, we're going to not click any of these, and we're just going to we're just going to keep our operational risk management one. So here's clicked. Oops. Okay. And then here you'll see your risk heat map. So here, let's say the one that we were looking at, I believe it was this one. Inadequate training. Okay. So as you can see, you're going to see your inherit and your residual. So there's a 12% distribution, a 4%, and up in the corner, hold on. Sorry, I'm just reading. The replay or another event coming up. Got to run to 10:30. Okay, no worries. Thank you so much. Is there another event coming up? Yes, we do. So if you want to check out our LinkedIn or our website, and I'm sure that Nicole will also send everybody in our webinar emails of their next webinars, because we do have some coming up. So yes, don't worry about it. And there's going to definitely be a replay as well. We'll probably have it on YouTube as well. So thank you, Thurman. Of course. Okay, let me answer some of these questions. Thank you, I appreciate it. Do you can associated one control to more risk or one risk to more processes? Yes, you can. You definitely can. So let me finish up here so that way I can show you guys, and then I'll go back and then we can discuss and ask questions and things like that. So yeah, so here when you click on the risk heat map, you're going to be able to see all these risks that we had previously inputted. So here we have the inadequate training of employees. So it's going to show you, it's critical, very critical. We have to we need to make sure that we're training our employees as best as possible, and we're giving them the resources and the materials for them to be trained adequately. So because clearly it's a very critical risk. So let's go back. So let's see, Mara. So can you associate one control to more risk? So let's go back to our controls. Cool. So here on our controls, let's go back to training employees. We click here. And then we click on our risk. Oh, this is sorry about that, guys. I forgot to show this. So here you're going to be able to mitigate that impact. So 100%, what are we going to do about this, right? Mitigate the likelihood, and then, it'll show you here what's going on. So 80%, the impact is likely and high. But going back to your question, Mara, yes. So you just go back here to associate, and then here you could just click on all the risk. These are risks that we had already previously input, but if you'd like, you can go ahead and create a whole new risk. That's fine. You can go ahead and create a whole new risk, input the information as we did before, the name, suggested risk, all your evidence, and then go back to our processes and associate them. So we can go ahead and associate. So let's say another one would be like technology process. You just click on the link and you associate. So you can associate as many risk as you want. Okay. So now when you go back to your controls, training employees, click here, same deal here. So you just want to double check. You associate your risk to your control. So for example, somebody could be drunk at work, or, there's an IT disruption. Then there's on the bottom here, we have our human errors and negligence in data. We also could do cybersecurity risk, which could be a vulnerability in our risk system. So all of these here, as you can see the link, you can go ahead and add these all together. So let's unclick this one though. So let's just keep these, the language barrier and cybersecurity. No, let's unclick that one. And the human errors. So we can just click language barriers and human errors as a risk associated to this control. Then we can go back to our dashboard. We click expand. As you can see on the bottom, our risk number went up because we started adding more risk. We click back here, residual. We unclick all of these again. And then now you'll be able to just kind of see a little bit where you stand in the risk heat map. So resilience risk, again, critical and medium, inadequate training of employees, critical. And then here you're going to have your distribution. So, and then lastly, let me show you one more thing here. So I know that sometimes here, let's go back here and fix this. Nope. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, we are mitigating our impact. So these numbers are going to affect what it looks like on the risk heat map. So let's say we press save changes. We go back to our dashboard. Same deal, click here. And then now we're going to see both. So as you can see right here, inherent and residual. All the risks associated, it's going to tell you if it's high, low, residual, same deal here. So now let me go back to the chat. Is there anything particular that you guys wanted to see that I can address now, or any other questions? Let's go back to the processes. Cool. So now that I've showed you a little bit of how the processes work, and then as you can see, you can still edit, like even after you add on processes, you can always go back and forth to add on more because it's an endless list of risk, right? So here we can do all types of processes: sales, marketing, legal, administrative processes. It all pertains to your industry. So whatever industry you are in, Pirani's operational risk management solution can be compliant with you, right? So all of your information, you can input this here. Again, with the risk, you have the option of inputting all types of risk. So as you can see, we had already inputted a lot of these. So it just totally depends on your industry. Then we have our controls. Again, this is all depending on your particular industry. You have the option of creating controls and deleting them as you like. And then the cool part is here, let's say you have, you decided that you wanted to kind of like look into something else. So you're able to click on these buttons as well. So compliance risk management, information security risk management, and anti-money laundering risk management as well. Then we have our last one, which is our audit management. So this is just like your administration kind of page where you can go back and forth and click from the different softwares. So in this particular example, we had just done operational risk management, but you do have the option of going ahead and clicking on the other ones, of course, if you are signed up for these. So, and this is our pro dashboard, because we have different dashboards depending on the system. So is there any questions that you guys would like for me to address, or do you guys want to try this again and do another process for another type of industry? So that way, or even a risk, because we can probably see, we can have our chat GPT give us some other risk. So if you guys want to ask any questions or you have any other information, yeah, I'll be here.
Steph, I just want to remember everyone, you have the 15-day free trial. Our tool, I will put the link now in the chat so you can see, and you don't have to put a credit card or anything. So it's very, very simple to sign up.
Cool. Thank you, Nicole. Yes, we do have our 15-day trial. So as Nicole just nicely said, we have our link inside the chat. So if you want to go ahead and click on that link now, so that way you can sign up. You can sign up for your 15-day free trial. And then, of course, you can always reach out to myself or Nicole if you have any questions about your free trial. And yeah, we'd love to discuss further with you. Okay, Jessica, so you like another example? Perfect. So would you like to help me with a process, Jessica? First of all, what industry are you in? And then what's a process for your particular industry? We have a question here. I think this might be a little technical. Let's see. Is this software made by SQL Oracle? No, it is not. Okay, so let's go back to our example here for process. What industry are you in, Jessica? Telecom. Okay, great. What is a process? What's a typical process for telecom? And excuse me, because I don't know telecom, so you're teaching me here. IT operations. Cool. Thank you. Okay, so IT operations. Now, with some help with someone else, health research. Okay, we can do that one next if you'd like. Banking. Okay, so what would be a type? So is it a mission? Is it supporting? Is it strategic? What would we say IT operations would be? Would it be supporting? Supporting. Cool. Okay, and now a category. Is it a macro process, is a process, or is it a sub-process?
Maybe a macro process?
A macro process? Let's see. What does the audience think? Do you guys think the category for this process would be macro, process, or a sub-process? Going once, going twice. It's a macro process. IT operations would be multiple processes, macro process. Okay, so let's go with macro processes. It seems like that's the most popular right now. Cool. Okay, and then as I mentioned before, you'll have the description. You'll be able to input some information on what this process entails, and then you have your evidence. You can add your documentations or policies or whichever. Then you just go ahead and click create. Cool. So now that you created your risk, your process, now we're going to go to our risk. So here, our name. So again, a risk for IT operations. Of course, the audience can help us if you'd like, but let's say, your first time entry in this position and you're not 100% sure it is an operational risk. Okay. But let's say we click on suggest risk, our AI generator. So since we said it was IT and telecommunications, that is the industry that we're going to click. So we click here, we do our process. Now, what would you say? Let's do technology. Okay. So technology is a process and the industry is telecommunications. So we click suggest, then we give it a minute to do its thing. Nicole's laughing at me. Okay, so here, thanks to our ChatGPT, we have a couple of options. So let's see, potential system downtime to a technical failures impacting critical business operations. We have my favorite topic ever, guys. It's a secret, but I do love this. It's cybersecurity breach leading to unauthorized access and potential data breaches. So scary. Inadequate system scalability, hindering the company's ability to accommodate future growth. Then we have rapid technological advancements rendering the current system obsolete, requiring costly upgrades or replacements. lack of user trainings and documentations leading to inefficiencies and user errors, potentially legal and compliance risk arising from data privacy regulations in the industry. And then lastly, we have our dependency on third-party providers for system maintenance with the system of service disruptions and contract issues. Thanks, Jessica. So let's see, what would you guys like? Let's say you guys are doing this. Which one of these did you guys like the best? Or which one do you think? Exactly, that's what I thought. Cybersecurity breach is fairly important. Well, very important actually. So we click on that one. Thanks to ChatGPT, we have our name, and now we're going to go ahead and do our risk impact. So what would you guys say our risk impact for a cybersecurity breach would be? I personally think it's catastrophic, but what do you guys think? Critical. Okay. Critical. Jessica, thank you. And then rate risk likelihood. So a probability that the risk will materialize. Is it unlikely, rather unlikely, likely, very likely, or almost certain? What would you guys say? Very likely, almost certain. Okay, let's go with almost certain. Let's just see. Then you type in your description. Does this risk affect the continuity of your business? What would you guys say? Yes or no? Yes, I agree, definitely. Then you add your evidence on what would happen if there was some type of data breach. Again, as I mentioned before, these categories here, these are all, you can edit these in another page, like it's like a part of your settings, but you would be able to make your own. So you can make your own name here. Instead of it saying category, you can put something else. Same deal here, risk management, you can add another, or country, whichever. So, but for this purposes, we'll just say the category is a risk and the risk treatment. Let's say, what would you guys say for risk treatment? Would you accept this, transfer it, mitigate it, or avoidance? How would you guys handle this? Avoidance. Okay. So we got some different answers here. Mitigate or avoidance. Okay, let's go with avoidance since Jessica has been kind enough to give us some examples here. Okay, so we'll go with avoidance. So we go ahead and create this risk. So now it's here. Right here, cybersecurity breach leading to an unauthorized access and potential data breaches. Cool. And then now we go back to our controls. So cybersecurity controls are measured. Okay, so now we're going to create a whole new control because that was for our data, for our cybersecurity breach. So what would be a control to that risk that we just created? Here, unfortunately, we don't have a ChatGPT to help us, so we would have to use our brain here. What would be, so what would be a name for this type of control? You can name it whatever you want, right? So to avoid data breaches, or what would be an idea to create this control? I think we might need some controlled access. Okay, controlled access. That's a good one, actually. Controlled access. Okay, so since we're calling this controlled access, what would be the control type? Are we going to mitigate them as they come or learn from past mistakes, which is just 10%? Or are we going to adjust ongoing processes? And this type of control monitors the activities in the present or prevent expected results from being breached. Preventative, okay. Anticipates situations and prevents problems. So we'll do preventive. Okay. See how this moves along the line of our risk heat management? Cool. So now type of execution. How would we execute this control? Are we going to manually execute it, or are we going to combine it, or is it going to be an automatic control? Automatic, awesome. So is this control executed repeatedly. Yes, this control is executed more than once. Okay. And then is there any evidence? Hold on. Is it documented? So would we undocument it? Is it partially documented or documented? And here, you know, we can add on. Oh, and by the way, I do want to make this known that all these informations that you input here, this is all, you can edit all of this. So that's the cool part about this system, is that everything can be tailored to your particular industry. So the risk management officer has the opportunity to go ahead and put whatever they like in here. So for these purposes, we put undocumented, particularly, and documented. So you guys said documented. So the control and its information is documented. Cool. Is there any evidence? Control execution support remains. Yes, we have evidence. And then are there assigned control owners? Yes, we definitely have assigned control owners, right? So a personnel in charge of executing the control. Cool. And then so far, final rating, excellent. Good job. Execution, here we go. Okay, and then lastly, we have to qualify our control. So, oh, really risk. Okay, so have events been presented? Let's see. Well, this should have been in English. Sorry about that, guys. Well, it says there are events related to control failures. So that would be a yes. And then the no, which is 100%, is, now I have to translate. Hold on. There aren't events that have affected the control. So I think that we're just going to go with yes for now. Yes, exactly. That's what I thought. Is the control design effective? Yes. The qualification of variables was according to the design. Yes. And then lastly, is the evidence effective? Yes. Evidence complies as audit support. Correct. Then as usual, your description, some evidence here on the Dropbox, and then we can scroll up and then we can see our qualification results. So we're at 82.5, which is a strong control. So the control runs correctly. So we are good risk management officers right now. Cool. So now we'll go back to our dashboard. And then here we click expand again. We are going to click our residual once again, and then we'll do our systems. Click here. Of course, you have the option to having all of them, but for this purpose, we're only going to have the operational risk management clicked off. Cool. So as you can see now, you're able to see everything. Was it from the low, the medium, the high, the critical? So I wonder where our stuff was at, because we did a pretty good job. Nope, that's not it. I think ours was like somewhere around here. Nope. Where'd it go? Lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so it would be up here. So it's critical. It's showing us that it's a very critical. Sorry about that. Here we go. Resilience, risk. So as you can see, you can start clicking around and you'll be able to see all this information. Kind of lost it here, but I think it's this one. So any questions so far about what about the risk map, the map? Do you guys are clear on the risk map, or do you want me to go over something else on the risk map? And just to recap, we did our process, we added our risk, and then we added our controls. So of course, once you have this dashboard, you'll be able to kind of click around and go through all of these yourself. You can add your consequences your causes and consequences, events, action plans. You can pull out some reports. It's kind of probably my favorite part of it. You're able to see everything in one dashboard. And these are, you can create reports as well. this is really good to show to, to management or to even come up with decisions for your own industry. Yeah, so this is a very good strategic decision-making tool for sure. Can you show us how to create an event? An event? Where are the events? So I have some examples, but this would be, give me a second. These would be like an example of your events. So I think from what we were talking about, I mean, we could probably do employee conduct and employee error. So let's just go ahead and see what this looks like. So this is what the dashboard for events would look like. You kind of just type in the name, where did the event take place, what is the description, some evidence here, when did they occur, the time, the discovery, and then, what's the event classification? And then here, is this an event? No. Was there a financial impact? Yes. Losses, all of this stuff. So yeah, so you can definitely have, you can input events as pertaining to your particular industry, but this is how it would look like. So as you guys can see, the dashboards and to input all your information, everything looks very similar. However, everything is a different process, but we try to make this system, as easy as possible for anyone to understand, especially rather you've been in risk management for 20 years or you've been in risk management for 5 days. This could, you'll be able to figure this out quite relatively easy. We have all of our buttons up here, all of our like, for example, like here, you create risk. So you'll be able to see everything here as well. Okay. I know we have a couple of minutes left. Is there anything else that you guys want me to show you inside the dashboard, or are you guys all set here? Or any questions? What is the type of reports inside the system? Cool. Thank you. Let's see. So this is what our risk management reports would look like. Here you go. Okay. Oh, the good part is that it says it up here, dynamic reports. You can't find a report you need. You can start customizing your own report. So let's see what happens when you create one. You can create here. You can actually download them as well into, oh, let's do a preview. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me see. Can you create and maintain risk registers in the tool? Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let me just click out of here so I can read this up. Okay. Can you create and maintain risk registers in the tool? So let's see risk. Okay. Let me try to figure that out for you. Create and risk. Yes, you can. You create and maintain the risk. Yes, you can. So this is where you would create your risk. And then remember, you're going to associate these risks to the processes or the controls. And then you can associate them right here. This is how you would associate them. You kind of just click on these links here. And that's how it would be. And that's it. Okay. Is it containing the stress testing? Can you elaborate the stress testing? Okay. No, we do not. Sure. Not for now, at least.
Yeah. Well, we are almost done here. Thank you so much, Steph, for your valuable participation in this webinar.
Thank you.
Finally, I would love to invite everyone to participate in the short survey that will appear when the meetings end. This will help us a lot to continue improving our webinars. Thank you so much again to Steph and all your participants in this webinar, and see you soon.
Yes. Thank you everybody for participating, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.